Hello again, and we are still talking about foreign exchange, and this is the very first module of out of 3 modules that we're going to be covering on foreign exchange, and this is the final topic that we're going to look at, looking at cross rates. If you've missed out on the previous topics, I'd like to encourage you to go onto the website and download the manuals and also the slides for more information, or if you couldn't catch anything as we've been going along, you can work through the manuals. So let's look at the final topic of cross rates. So why do we have cross rates? So in the FX market, there are a few real markets, okay? And by that real markets, we mean things like dollar-rand, that's a real market that trades, euro-dollar. But then if you wanted to buy or trade the rand against the euro, there is no real market for that. So then what you'd need to do is calculate the cross rate, basically using the euro-dollar and the dollar-rand. So a way to think about it is the real FX markets, you can think of them as primary colors, and then the quoted currency as your secondary colors. So your primary colors are red, yellow, blue, but then if you wanted to get orange or purple or green, you'd have to mix 2 of the primary colors. So it's a similar concept. So let's see how that unfolds. If we wanted to look at cross-currency quotes, let's say we're interested in a euro-rand quote, then we've got a direct quote of euro-dollar of 130, and then a direct quote of dollar-rand of 10 rand to $1. So if you notice, in the euro-dollar quote, okay, it's slightly different to the dollar-rand quote that we've looked at before, because now the euro is the base currency and the dollar is the quoted currency. But then when you look at the dollar-rand quote, the dollar is the base currency and the rand is the quoted currency. So when you have that situation where the dollar is the common currency in both of the currency pairs, so you've got euro-dollar and dollar-rand, the dollar is common in both, but then in one instance it's the quoted currency and in the other instance it's the base currency. To get the cross rate, you'd simply multiply the 2. So if you take 1.3 times 10, it will give you a euro-rand rate of 13. So that becomes your cross rate. And what that means is that if you want to buy 1 euro, it will cost you 13 rands. And in this cross rate, once again, the euro is your base currency and the rand is your quoted currency. Now let's look at something closer to the continent. If you've got the dollar against the Kenyan shilling, so it's a dollar Kenyan shilling quote, and then one that you're familiar with now, the dollar-rand. In this instance, the dollar is common to both currency pairs, but unlike the previous example, the dollar is now the base currency in both currency pairs. So what you then do is that you're going to divide. So you would take the dollar Kenyan shilling quote of 85 divided by the dollar-rand quote of 10, which gives you a cross rate of rand to Kenyan shillings of 8.5. And in this case, the rand, which is the stronger currency, then becomes the base currency, and the Kenyan shillings, which was the weaker of the 2, is now the quoted currency. So this means that if you want to buy 1 rands, it will cost you 8.5 Kenyan shillings. So it seems a bit complicated when you're first introduced to it, but I do encourage you to go into the manuals, download them, and work through it at your own pace, and you'll see that it actually starts to make sense and it's much easier than you think. And that's all for this module.